Hey everyone, it's Kong, and for once this is an in-depth guide. Welcome to Should You Matthew.
そこだ!
Matthew's the main character of the game, the main protagonist, and he's interesting because he gets multiple possible classes based on the questions that you answer at the start of the game. So I'll start by giving a high-level overview of Matthew's general role in your teams before moving into a breakdown of his various class options. I'm still not going to get too in the weeds here because I like to keep these tight. Let's start with factions. One of his main selling points is that he's currently the sole faction buffer for protagonists. He's also a member of Legion of Glory, buffed by Ledin, Elwyn, and Grenier. These are two of the most beginner-friendly, early game-friendly factions, so Matthew is a great character to rely on from the start. His factions make him quite useful in the battles against Phoenix and Scylla in the Eternal Temple, and for Hugin and Munin, especially in his archer class, in Ancient Beckoning. For bonds, since you start with Matthew, it's not like you actually have to keep your eyes peeled for an opportunity to summon him just for bonds. That said, he does need to hop in and take part in some other character's Gate of Fate battles to help them unlock their bonds. Matthew's required to unlock the bonds for Akaya, Illustrial, Angelina, Listel, and Zerida. Another good reason to have Matthew around is because he's quite a common unit for various special event challenges that pop up each month. Typically, when you use bonus characters to clear event battles, you get even more exchange items or points, which saves you stamina in the long run. Matthew's one of the few characters that can upgrade his rarity, eventually becoming SSR at 6 stars. If you use him, it's well worth putting in the effort to get him there. Check this out. At 5 stars, his talent, Bonds of Friendship, gives him an 80% chance to increase his attack and defense by 15% as long as there's an ally within 2 blocks. At 6 stars, every element of this gets a big boost, giving him a guaranteed 100% chance to increase his attack and defense by 20% when there's an ally within 3 blocks. The best features of Matthew's best classes involve his mobility, so having that extra block gives you a lot more flexibility with positioning. You get Matthew's memory shards, which you need to upgrade his star level, from getting as many stars as possible in each Time Rift chapter. The first little chest checkpoint will be Grenier shards, and then the second chest will be Almeida shards, and then the final chest is Matthew shards. And the final few shards needed to top him off at 6 star are hidden away in Time Rift 11 Elite.
女神の光。俺の意識。
Okay, so with all that out of the way, let's walk through the exact answers you need to give to each of Lushiris' questions in order to get the Matthew you want. Every Matthew will have the full Infantry Hero class path, and an additional Tier 3 class path determined by your answers here. Now, bear in mind that when you complete Chapter 50 of the first part of the main story, you'll get an item that lets you reset Matthew's class. It's currently only 1 use, but you do get all your runestones back and can effectively pick another final class for Matthew, so this isn't set in stone. Here's how to answer the questions to get the Ranger class. Defense. Strategic versatility. In the heavens above. A green grassland in the spring. Loyalty. Charity. And my loved ones. And that's how you get the Ranger class. So this is how to answer the questions if you want the Assassin class. Defense. Strategic versatility. In the heavens above. Quiet cottage in the night. Passion. Acceptance. And my loved ones. And that's how you get the Shadow. Here's how you answer the questions if you want the Strike Master class. Retreat. Overwhelming strength. They do not exist. To get what my heart desires. An unyielding spirit. Charity. And glory. So that's how you get Strike Master. Here's how to answer the questions to get the Dragon Master flying class. Counterattack. Excellent mobility. I am God. Protect the things I care about. An unyielding spirit. Helping others. And my loved ones. And that's how you get the Dragon Master class. So let's get started with some actual breakdowns of these classes. In all of his classes, Matthew has access to his 3-cost Awakening skill, Sword of Destruction, and his unique Secret Realm equipment, the Kizuna Band accessory. Sword of Destruction sacrifices a portion of Matthew's maximum hit points to summon a hero-class clone with your current stats and a set of standard skills. When the clone dies, you get your sacrificed hit points back.
正確に
The Kizuna Band has a nice built-in flat attack boost and provides plus 10% attack, defense, and magic defense as long as you're within 2 blocks of an ally. Obviously, this synergizes quite nicely with his talent. Okay, so now let's get into specifics. I'm going to look at notable skills from each class path, the gear and soldier options they tend to prefer, and other characters who are at least in a similar orbit within the Protagonist and Legion of Glory factions. For enchantments, generally speaking, Rough Sea and Full Moon tend to be popular choices for his Dragon Master and Strike Master classes, while his shorter leg classes definitely prefer Breeze for extra mobility. Obviously, bear in mind that these aren't commandments. One of the great things about this game is how much flexibility it gives you to adapt your loadouts to specific situations. So you can change a lot of these enchantments and recommendations based on how you're trying to build your Matthew. First, let's take a look at his Archer class, the Ranger. This class is great for PvE, specifically the Hugin and Munin fight in Ancient Beckoning, where Archers reign supreme. Narm is another really great choice for that battle, but if you happen to have an Archer Matthew, it really helps. For notable skills, in this class Matthew has access to Roundabout, which lets you move 2 blocks after attacking, on a cooldown. It also gives plus 10% damage dealt. For weapon, you can use Extreme Magic Bow or Uller's Bow, depending on what you're trying to do. The other bows like Hydra Bow or Bloody Melody are fine backup picks if you don't have one of these preferred options. Try to avoid daggers if possible. For armor, like anyone who can equip it, he definitely wants Last Rites. For headgear, King's Crown is a great choice. His accessory of choice is Kizuna Band, with the Slayer's Emblem being a strong backup choice if you don't have challenge points to spare, mainly for the attack since he already wrecks flyers in this class. For soldiers, Firebrand Snipers are a solid pick. And as far as alternative characters who might step on Archer Matthew's toes a little bit, you have access to Sigma in Protagonists, and Illustrial and Narm are archers in Legion of Glory. Next, let's look at his assassin class, the Shadow. This is generally considered to be his weakest class, largely due to having no boosted mobility options, which makes other tailor-made assassins better at their jobs. For notable skills here, he does have access to Shadow Raid, which ignores guard, and Ninjutsu, which is the closest thing to a boosted mobility skill. It treats all passable terrain as planes, and boosts attack by whatever the terrain's defense bonus is. For weapon, again you can use Extreme Magic Bow or Uller's Bow, depending on what you're trying to do. For armor, again, he can equip Last Rites, so that's what he wants. For headgear, King's Crown is again a good choice for this class, and Jormungandr's Eye is another good option. For his accessory, he'll want the Kizuna Band, or the Judge Talisman, which is a good standard issue assassin alternative. For soldiers, he has bandits, which are a solid choice. And as far as other assassin options in these factions, protagonists have Dehart, who can also ignore guard and has more mobility. Legion of Glory has Cherie, who's usually a flyer, but who also makes a more capable assassin than Matthew thanks to her talent. Next up, let's look at his Cavalry class, Strike Master. This is a decent general purpose option. For notable skills, the Strike Master has Move Again, which lets you use up any unused mobility after attacking, and Strike, which lets you move again before attacking. For weapons, Seal Guardian is a good common choice. For armor, this is actually a really flexible slot for Cavalry Matthew. Aeolus Battle Armor is a good go-to choice for offensive cavalry. Aeneas and Giant's Resolve are clean generalist picks. Mirror Armor or Bloodline Magic Armor are there if you want their specific effects. Headgear is kind of a similar situation. Vampire Mask is useful for debuffing enemies. Chief's Helmet is good for buffing allies after using Move Again to get back to them. Fury of Tyr is always a strong choice, but there are lots of other characters who want that one. For accessories, again, Kizuna Band is a top choice, and Slayer's Emblem is a strong backup choice. For soldiers, Strike Master Matthew has access to Bone Dinos, who have high attack. Angels and Vampire Bats are also good general purpose options that will make him a bit less squishy against Lancers. As far as other cavalry options, in protagonists you have Dehart and maybe Parn once you get him to SSR. Landius is also a protagonist, but he's a tank, so he does something different. Looking at Legion of Glory in isolation, Rosalia will outclass him based on the sheer versatility of her kit, but Matthew's the only game in town until then. Now let's move on to his flying class, the Dragon Master. This is widely considered to be his best PvP option, and to be honest, probably his best general PvE option as well, outside of a couple specific instances. For notable skills, he has Wind Whisper, which is a debuffing AoE attack, Gale, which gives him a chance to act again, and Sprint, which boosts mobility and attack and int for his team. For weapons, he's going to want Ragnarok. For armor, Last Rites, barring that, the usual backups, like Gargoyle Jacket for example. For headgear, again, King's Crown and Jormungandr's Eye are good choices. And for the accessory, Kizuna Band, and Slayer's Emblem is of course a strong backup choice. For soldiers, he has access to angels through the training grounds, and they're always solid. And as far as other flyers in these factions, Ares is an obvious and immediate flying Matthew replacement for the protagonists, while Legion of Glory I guess has Cherie, although she doesn't really do the same thing as Matthew. I might as well talk about the hero class as well. You don't have to worry about the goddess's questions for this one, since you'll always have the full hero path no matter what other final class option you end up with. But Matthew will often end up being used in this class, so here we are. For notable skills, this class gives him his faction buff, Scions of Light. He also has access to Sword Dance, but he's not necessarily the best dancer. Hero Matthew generally likes to run his Awakening skill, his Fusion power, and then whatever tasty one-cost skill he gets from one of his various other classes. So this could be Gale or Move Again, Roundabout, they're all popular options. If you opt not to use his 3C skill, he can also run 3 2-cost choices, like the Fusion power, Attack Command, and then an attacking skill like Air Slash or Snipe. For his weapon, again, Seal Guardian is a good common choice. For his armor and headgear, he's in a similar situation to his cavalry class where it's a fairly flexible slot. Basically whatever heavy stuff you have that fits your build fairly well, you can feel free to use that. For headgear, he does like the Chief's Helmet to buff his allies, since he should be sticking with them anyway because of his talent, Attack Command Aura, and the Kizuna Band for example. For accessories, Kizuna Band again obviously, with Apex Boots and Slayer's Emblem as good alternatives. So that's Matthew in a nutshell. He's a solid, versatile hero who can be the linchpin in a well-rounded protagonist or Legion of Glory focused team. He's at his best when he's hanging around his friends, because he can get the most use out of his talent and some of his skills and his Secret Realm accessory that way. Since you start the game with him, you can get a lot of good use out of him while grinding up the ranks through the story and time rifts, and even if you do switch factions at some point, Matthew can always buff himself, so he can be slotted into any team if you need him. So I know that was quick and to the point, but I hope you found this video helpful. If so, feel free to subscribe to the channel and I'll give my Doberman extra head scratches just for you. Let me know in the comments what Matthew you ended up with, and whether you're planning on making any changes. I started the game with Archer Matthew, and I'm still running him like that for now. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Happy Langrissing.